One of the best ways to prepare for a glass enclosure in a curbless shower is to use the Schluter Deco-sg profile. This is a profile that will receive 3/8 inch glass, and what this does is prevent an installer from using screws to fasten that U-channel in and going through your waterproofing. It's pretty simple to use. You can just cut it with a standard trim saw, normally just a carbide blade. I recommend making sure you have it at full speed before cutting that profile. And as you can see here, I'm just marking where my door is, so my U-channel will go where that entire fixed panel will be in this shower. So I always recommend installing the outside floor first, so you can build up the mosaic tile in your shower floor up to the outside floor. And what we're doing here is we're making sure that we have the U-channel meet at halfway on the transition between the shower floor tile and the outside floor tile. So we notched out so that the U-channel will be halfway. So you really want to have your door be centered on that transition grout joint. That's going to make sure that you prevent water from seeping outside of the shower. And as you can see, we're installing the thinset first and then embedding that Schluter deck into it. Now I'm using some horseshoe shims because of the shower slope. I want to make sure the same reveal is on the outside. Be sure to try to make that first tile pitch towards the shower. That'll prevent water from seeping out. Okay, so we're going to put some 2x2 floor tile in here. So just a standard 2x2 inch tile. And so first one thing you want to do is just try to determine the layout. Obviously I was not able to get this completely centered because of our joist. But let's just go ahead and try to lay this out. So it's just a matter of laying this out and trying to prevent any slivers. My recommendation is just to pay attention to the most visible areas of the shower and make sure it fits well. So around the drain, coming into the entrance of the shower, and then obviously against the walls. But it's just a matter of really just paying attention to what's going to be the most visible after you're done with this project. Okay, so it's going to be best to take this flange on your Schluter drain and just move it out so you can get some thinset underneath of it. You want to wipe down the substrate with a damp sponge. Okay, so then we're going to use a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch square notch trowel for this. Okay, then you want to do what tile setters call burning the thinset into the substrate, which is just basically using the flat side of the trowel and pushing that into the substrate. This is going to give a better uniform thinset layer when you thinset. Now you want to put additional thinset underneath of that flange. I'm just using a margin trowel, as you can see, and putting thinset all the way around that flange. This is going to make sure that if you step on the drain, it's going to have support after that thinset dries. And then you can just use a grout float to press that down. I press it down slightly, not enough to go to where my tile layer is going to be, but just to eliminate so much thinset being around that drain. And just use directional troweling, and keep in mind, you don't have to do the whole pan at once. You can start halfway and then trowel the rest. Okay, so this is the most important tip for a curbless shower, and that is to use silicone or even just the Curdy fix in sealing between the outside tile layer and the shower pan waterproofing. What this is going to do is prevent water seepage from coming up out of the shower from capillary water movement. Capillary water movement is the siphoning of water through the thinset layer that can absorb and come outside of the shower. So this is going to prevent that. This is going to separate that thinset layer and keep that water inside the shower. And then on to setting the tile. So I usually like to work on my back wall first and work my way from there. As you can see, I like to slide my tiles over the existing tiles that I have down. This helps prevent some of that thinset from oozing up in between the joints. Now I did tamp down around that drain. I just wanted to make sure it was flush or a little bit recessed in the actual tile. And keep in mind, this is obviously a speeded up version. There's a lot more fussing around than what I'm actually being shown here. But really, it's just a matter of paying attention to all your grout lines. I like to use a grout flow to embed all of that. That makes sure that everything's tamped down and nice. And then using a linoleum knife is really great for picking out the thinset out of those grout joints. So use your hands, make sure everything feels good, because your feet are going to notice any bumps. And then using a level just to double check around that drain area, make sure that there isn't anything that's going to hold any water. And then using these horseshoe shims really help out in areas that are tough to keep those grout joints even. Keep in mind, if you have nice looking grout joints before grout, it's going to look tremendous after you grout them. So I hope that demonstration helped you out with your own project, and some of those tips are going to make it easier for your own installation. In our next video, we're going to show 12 by 24 inch tile put on this back wall with some Schluter Deck. I have a lot of great tips for you there. So please subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks.